We are learning more about the victims in Saturday night's deadly mass shooting in Colorado Springs.
5 people were killed when a gunman opened fire in an LGBTQ plus nightclub, plus more than a dozen others were injured. Police have identified the victims as Kelly Loving, Daniel Aston, Derek Rump, Ashley Paul, and Raymond Green Bands. The community gathered for a vigil yesterday to mourn the loss, and the nightclub had been a safe haven for the LGBTQ plus community for years, which just adds to the trauma.
Let's bring in reporter Kennedy Cook from our CBS News Colorado station. Kennedy, thanks for joining us. What more are we learning about the victims in Saturday night's shooting?
Good afternoon to you both. Now, amongst the 5 victims that you all just named, we're now learning that both Derek and Daniel were 2 of the bartenders at Club Q, and they were there maybe a few hours before the shooting took place.
Now, Kennedy, I wonder how much more has been revealed so far or uncovered about a specific motive. Of course, everybody thought this is a hate crime. The suspect was facing possible hate crime charges. Where does that stand? Have authorities said, there is a motive and it was related to the place where this took place and the community that was targeted?
So the investigation is still underway. It's still in those early stages, and there are still a lot of questions that people have. And that main question that you mentioned is that big why, right? Why did this happen? But as of right now, authorities are trying to figure out where the suspect got the gun from, as well as, like I just mentioned, his motive.
Yeah, Kennedy, you mentioned where he got the gun, and there's a lot of questions about that and Colorado's red flag laws, because a year and a half before the Club Q shooting, a man with the same name and age was arrested for allegedly making a bomb threat. If this is indeed the same person, how was he able to avoid Colorado's red flag law and carry out this attack? Tell our viewers more who might not be familiar about what the laws are there in Colorado.
Right. So when this happened, Anderson Eldridge, that is, he's 22 years old. Allegedly, he made that threat against his mother with a bomb threat as well as guns. However, when that happened, Eldridge was not charged, and there wasn't much documentation about it. And gun activists are currently arguing that this was with the red flag law and that it is going against that information. However, it's not clear that this law could have prevented that attack on Saturday night, but if they would have known about it, Eldridge could have raised his profile with local law enforcement and potentially prevented this attack.
Yeah, Kennedy, that's a really good point. I think it's really important to take a look at the way that these laws work and what is required for a red flag law to go into place. I mean, if it's something that the community, the parents or the family did not trigger because they didn't report it, or just, how is it possible that somebody...
oversight.
Right, that somebody who, and this was, reported. I remember when it first happened and when police revealed his name, I went looking for any, prior reporting and found that just a year ago, somebody called in a bomb threat. The whole community was paralyzed. And sure enough, the person shares the name. So how come he's not, he's still able to get his hands on this weapon? We'll wait and see if it was purchased legally, et cetera.
Kennedy, we see all those people there. What's the mood like now?
So we were here yesterday, and it's been sad, right? Obviously, we have a pretty sad event ahead of us, but there are plenty of people just coming and hugging and crying and just being there for each other. It's an interesting way to build community, I would say, but there's certainly plenty of community here. We have hundreds of flowers and candles, and we have a group that just came and built 5 altars for those 5 victims, and people just continue to come out and pour in support and just really be there and show up for one another. So if there is a silver lining with any of this chaos, I would say it's seeing all this community here.
Colorado, no stranger to mass shootings. Thank you so much, Kennedy.
Kennedy Cook, thanks.